I'm elated that I'm giving my first TEDx talk for IMT Hyderabad. And today I would like to talk about a very interesting thing. And the very interesting topic that I have is something related to perception. And it is perception as a positive tool to be a winner, or perception as a tool to be a winner. It is said, Jaki rahi bhavana jaisi, Prabhu Murat dekhi tin taisi, which means you see God as you are. And why am I saying so? I am saying so because whenever we talk about perception, we think that perception has a negative connotation. You talk about how race plays a major role in your perception, how your country of origin, how your past experiences, all these things play a major role in what you perceive the word or how you perceive the word. But then there is a slight difference. The difference is, what if we start perceiving it in a different way? What if we really realize that perception is nothing but a thought of mind, and a single thought which comes to your mind, and if I really make few changes in it, then definitely I'm going to follow another Sanskrit principle, which is yatha bhavo tatha bhavati, which means as you think, the same thing starts happening in your life. And I'm going to tell you very interesting things related to this. Imagine you went to a party 10 years ago and you met a person who was very talkative. You thought this person is very talkative, he can be cunning, and you decided not to talk to him. You met another person, he was absolutely quiet, and you thought this person is not talking to me. Maybe this person is not even interested in me. And then you met another person who kept on talking about technology, and you thought, I'm not interested in technology, why should I hear him? Fast forward your life to 10 years, and what do you find? You wish to start a small company, and you wish to make it big. And surprisingly, you meet all these three people. The first person, who was very gregarious, is somebody who can be an expert in marketing. You want him as a partner, but nothing can be done because you chose not to talk to him because of your perception. The other person, who was quiet, could have been your investor because he is somebody with tons of money. And the third person could have been a tech partner because he has turned out to be a person who is very good with technology. You missed all these chances just because of your negative perception. Perception as a tool to be a winner is a concept which tells you that do not think of perception as a gray area. Just embrace it and understand that through perception, you can be an absolute winner. Now I'll give you another example which comes from literature. In literature, it is said, reconciled though he may be, never trust an enemy, for the house of the ants was burnt when crows with fire returned. And then you become afraid because you realize, oh my God, if somebody is my enemy, he'll always be my enemy. But then you forget that literature also talks about the road less traveled. Literature also tells you that the race has never belonged to the person or the individual or the creature who was swift. A race can be won by anybody. So when you see literature, when you perceive literature, it is because of your perception of life. So I would like to ask you to just have this thing in mind that yes, perception can really become a tool and it can make you a winner if you just calibrate how you think. I'll give you 3-4 more examples. When you talk about technology, it is believed that artificial intelligence is coming. It is believed that in machine learning, whatever is the input, the same output comes. But that's not the case with human beings. Human beings have that intellect. They have empathy. They have sympathy. They have these words intact. And that is why whatever is the input, the output can be different for different people. So perception cannot have same definition for everyone. Also, when I talk about the molecular theory, Dr. Jonas Friesen gave a very interesting study. He said that in 6 to 7 years, all our molecules change. We are not the same human being. We are not the same person in 7 years. All our cells are new. If this is the case, whatever you perceived of that relative who was not talking to you, whatever you perceived of a particular people or set of people is completely false, because in 7 years, you are not the same person. Let me give you more examples. Let me give you examples of things which you relate to more. You relate to money. In the book Psychology of Money, it is shared that in 60s, many people had a very different viewpoint about inflation because inflation was very high. In the 90s, it was a different word, so people had a different concept of money, of inflation, of savings. And then came the era of 2008, the recession came, and people became very skeptical. People were not interested in savings, were not interested in even things like investing money because there was a recession. And today's economy, last 2-3 years have been good. People are really saying that the economy is growing by leaps and bounds. And that is why they have a different viewpoint when it comes to savings, when it comes to investments. The whole thing changes. So the advice that you got from your parents about investment changes. The advice that you got from your friends about money changes from time to time. Doesn't it mean that your perception towards money also needs a change? I would just like to request you one thing. I'm going to tell you that you must think of one more scenario. Let us suppose that you wish to be a public speaker and you really want to improve your public speaking skills, and you are not finding any way of doing it. It is believed that fear of public speaking is the second biggest fear that any person can have. Right after death, it is the biggest fear. You are finding no gates, no solutions to this. What will you do? You will go to a master and ask for solutions. I am not a master. I am not claiming to be a master. I'll give you an example from my life. I was there in class 7th. My mother told me that it is important to give a speech. I went for a debate competition and I met the school friend of mine who was always the winner of debates. He told me, why are you worried? I thought I'll not take advice from him because the basic is that your competitor will never help you. That a student who wishes to win debate might be obnoxious. He might not even try and help you. I thought I'll not listen to him. He said, if you are afraid, you remember one thing. When you are speaking, you are the king and others are the subject. And that is why you should be confident. I said I should not take this advice. What about the principles of gratitude, principles of being grounded? This doesn't fit in. He said, I'm saying do this only for this debate and you will turn out to be a winner. Can you believe this? I not only won that debate, but I went on to win 7 next debates just because of that advice. And today I am giving a TED talk just because of this. Shakespeare once said, the whole world is a stage and we are merely players. I completely believe in this. The whole world is a stage, but are we merely players? Just stay with this thought. I'll come back to this thought again. Now, let's move ahead and let's talk about other things. Let's talk about how perception has ruined relations between countries. How perception leads a boss to think that the employee who's working for him is never helpful and he is never hardworking. Don't you think if there is a little change, if there is a little change, if we are a little compassionate about other species, if we are more compassionate about our employees and our owners, if we are more compassionate about other countries, don't you think the world will become a better place to live in? We'll have less wars. Yes, we'll have very trusting people, but we'll have lesser wars. I'm going to ask you to do an experiment. For the next 3 months, just start believing in everything. Just start believing in people. The world will become a better place for you and for others. Now you will have this question that, okay, the world might have less wars, the world might have lesser problems, but don't you think that trusted people are fooled? And I would like to tell you this thing. We have been suspicious of people. We have doubted others, and still we have had wars in the world. We have had bad relations in the corporate life. We have had bad relations with countries. So don't you think that we can try this? If you try this and if you succeed, remember, you will have more people to talk to at a time when we have just fought the COVID pandemic or we are still fighting the COVID pandemic. Don't you think a little socializing will help? Don't you think that being little positive towards others will help? It will definitely help. Do this for 3 months. If it suits you, if the level of your life grows, if your heart becomes fonder, if you start loving more, if you start liking more, if you are a little bit more successful, don't you think that this positive impact in your life will change everything? Don't you think you will be able to use perception as a tool to change your life? It is said in another quote, धीरे धीरे रे मना धीरे सब कुछ होए माली सींचे 100 घड़ा ऋतु आए फल होए, which means over time things happen. If you think that all results will come in single day, this is never the case. The fruit or the flower blossoms when the time comes. And I am 100% sure that this will be the case in your life and this will happen with you. And one day you will blossom because you will be more trusting. I would like to dare this thing. I would like to challenge Shakespeare and say, the world is a stage and we are not merely players. We are directors of our own destiny. We can change our destiny just by changing the way we think, and definitely one day, the world will become a better place to live in. I would request you all to do this experiment because what a human mind can conceive, it can surely achieve. What a human mind can conceive starts happening because miracles happen to those who believe in the power of miracles. Thank you so much.